Part 1. Ancient Greece, the birthplace of gymnastics. The sport of gymnastics traces its roots to ancient Greece, where men engaged in various physical exercises in spaces known as gymnasiums. The word gymnastics comes from the Greek term gymnazine, which means to exercise naked. In ancient Greece, gymnastics was viewed as essential for both physical and mental well-being. Athenians believed that a healthy body was key to a healthy mind, while Spartans used gymnastics as a means of preparing for warfare. After the decline of Greek civilization, gymnastics faded in prominence, only to be revived during the Enlightenment. The 18th and 19th centuries saw the rise of organized gymnastics programs, with German educators Johann Christoph Friedrich Gutsmuths and Friedrich Ludwig Jahn leading the charge. Gutsmuths, often referred to as the grandfather of gymnastics, published the first written guide to the sport, emphasizing both physical health and the aesthetic value of skills. Jahn, known as the father of gymnastics, developed training programs that incorporated outdoor activities and apparatuses like the pommel horse and parallel bars, many of which remain central to gymnastics today. Jahn's promotion of gymnastics as a way to foster nationalism led to the Turnverein movement, which emphasized national pride and physical fitness. This movement, along with similar ones like the Sokol in Prague, laid the groundwork for modern competitive gymnastics. The sport spread across Europe and reached the United States in the mid-19th century, where figures like Dudley Allen Sargent helped introduce gymnastics to American universities. Part 2. The birth of women's competitive gymnastics, 1928 to 1956. Women's gymnastics made its Olympic debut in 1928 in Amsterdam, marking a historic moment for the sport. Although women had participated in exhibitions at previous games, 1928 was the first time they competed officially. However, the competition rules were vague, and the events included vaults, ensemble routines, and apparatus exercises with no clear guidelines. Each participating country fielded a team of 10 gymnasts who performed routines lasting 35 to 40 minutes, with exercises involving both hand apparatus and apparatus such as vaults. The evolution of women's gymnastics continued throughout the 1930s, with the sport gaining greater clarity and structure. The first Women's World Championships took place in 1934, and the competition included a mix of gymnastics and track and field events like sprints and javelin throws. By the 1936 Berlin Olympics, compulsory routines were introduced, marking the first time female gymnasts performed standardized exercises. However, the competition format was still evolving. For instance, female gymnasts had the option to compete on either uneven bars or parallel bars during these years, an option that was phased out as uneven bars became the standard apparatus. The 1950 World Championships in Basel were another milestone, as women competed individually on floor exercise for the first time, though without music. At the 1956 Melbourne Olympics, female gymnasts competed in the last major FIG event that included ensemble exercises. However, a major shift occurred in 1958 at the World Championships in Moscow, where female gymnasts finally performed with music during their floor routines. This was a transformative moment, marking the integration of artistry into women's gymnastics. The compulsory floor music composed by Hans de Koppel became the first officially used at an FIG event, and it set the stage for the expressive routines that would become a hallmark of the sport. Part 3. The Modern Era, 1960s to 2024. This mesmerizing display from 1960 was all about precise movements performed in unison.
Clubs. Now came the big test. Could they combine perfectly? Any doubt about that was soon dispelled. Prague voted the display
The 1960s and beyond saw a wave of technological and cultural shifts that shaped modern women's gymnastics. In 1967, uneven bars with cables were introduced at major FIG competitions, enabling more stable and intricate routines. The distance between the bars, initially much closer than today, gradually increased to accommodate more complex skills, allowing gymnasts to push the boundaries of what was possible. In 1975, the first padded balance beams were introduced at the European Championships, reducing the risk of injury while allowing gymnasts to attempt more difficult acrobatic elements. This marked a departure from the earlier wooden beams that were prone to splintering. These developments were followed by the introduction of spring floors in the 1979 World Championships, which provided gymnasts with more lift and power during their floor routines.
Plays with the audience, she smiles a lot. Hand clapping music here.
Well, there's little Kalinka. You see that many times. With the Russians in figure skating, they use that for exhibition.
The 1970s also saw the emergence of gymnastics as a global spectacle, led by athletes like Soviet gymnast Olga Korbut, who became the sport's first global superstar at the 1972 Munich Olympics. Korbut's groundbreaking performances, including the now banned Korbut Flip, captivated audiences worldwide. Her emotional displays, such as her tears after a failed routine and her infectious joy after successes, humanized the sport and drew in fans from across the globe. Korbut's charisma and daring skills helped elevate gymnastics to a new level of popularity and set the stage for the arrival of Nadia Comaneci at the 1976 Montreal Olympics. Comaneci became the first gymnast to score a perfect 10, and the resulting technical glitch on the scoreboard, displaying 1.00 instead of 10, became one of the most iconic moments in Olympic history.
Nadia went to the top of the Olympic class by capturing medals and hearts in equal abundance. At the age of 14, she had skill and grace and combined the two qualities best in the uneven parallel bars. On that apparatus, she made Olympic history by becoming the first gymnast to score a perfect 10 in the Games.
Korbut and Comaneci's influence pushed countries like the United States to invest heavily in their gymnastics programs. In 1984, the U.S. achieved its first major success with Mary Lou Retton's all-around gold at the Los Angeles Olympics. By 1996, the Magnificent Seven had secured the first team gold for American women in Atlanta, with unforgettable moments like Carrie Strugg's vault on an injured ankle and Dominique Dawes becoming the first African-American woman to win an individual Olympic medal in gymnastics. The 1990s and 2000s saw continuous advancements in the sport. The FIG approved the use of 20 centimeters mats for women's gymnastics in 1997, leading to changes in apparatus height and safety standards. However, the introduction of a misprinted vault height at the 2000 Sydney Olympics led to a major controversy, contributing to the vault debacle that resulted in numerous athletes struggling during competition. In the modern era, gymnasts like Simone Biles have revolutionized the sport with their combination of power, difficulty, and creativity. Biles, with her unmatched skill and dominance, has redefined what is possible in women's gymnastics, challenging traditional standards of femininity and grace. Her focus on strength and innovation has made her one of the most celebrated athletes in history. Simultaneously, older gymnasts like Chelsea Memel and Oksana Chusovitina have shown that age is no barrier in gymnastics. Memel's return to competition at age 33 was inspirational to say the least. Just watch how she dominates the parallel bars like someone half her age.
It's just so impressive.
Good combination right here. Oh, that was fingertips. She had a heart attack on that.
Chusovitina's continued participation into her 40s has also reshaped the narrative that gymnastics is only for the young. Their persistence and success are proof that the sport is evolving beyond its traditional stereotypes. Today, women's gymnastics stands as a sport that celebrates both artistry and athleticism. From the graceful exercises of the 1930s to the high-flying, powerful routines of today, women's gymnastics continues to be a symbol of feminine transformation.